Hello, this is To The Point, and I'm Shashi Tharoor, here in Thiruvananthapuram with the renowned filmmaker Shri Adoor Gopalakrishnan, whom many consider India's greatest living film director. Adoorji, wonderful to be in your beautiful traditional home in a suburb of Thiruvananthapuram, surrounded by leafy green foliage, and to see you smiling in your 81st year. Great privilege to be with you. How have you been keeping?
Oh, I have been fine, thank you.
Glad to hear that. You've certainly stayed incredibly active. You are heading the Film Institute here, the K.R. Narayanan Institute. I know you're rushing off to a meeting there after we talk. You have been, of course, someone who is best known as a feature film director. We've had 9 great films from your oeuvre, and 12, I beg your pardon, great films, and 30 documentaries.
Yes.
So there's a great deal that you have already produced. Everyone is looking forward to more. But before we get to that, I'd like to take you back, if I may, to your childhood. You were born in 1941 into a family that was always associated with the arts. Is that how you remember growing up with art?
Yes,
Theatre?
yes. In fact, from my mother's side, all my maternal uncles, they were very much involved in arts. My mother's younger brother was a painter and a cartoonist and a playwright.
Wow.
All that. And then the eldest uncle, maternal uncle, was a patron of so many arts. Of that, the Kathakali was the most important for him.
A patron in the sense that he helped set up theatres?
Yes, he has. He had this what you call Kali Yogam. Kali Yogam
Right.
means the troupe, a Kathakali troupe you keep. Everybody cannot do that because
It's an expensive
it's
proposition.
very expensive. In those days, in fact, they were the real patrons of that art form.
So you grew up with that, but you were not tempted by Kathakali yourself.
In my childhood, I grew up in the midst of that, and some of the great Kathakali singers, like they are almost the managers of the Kathakali. While the performance is there, the singer is the most important person, other than the actor. As a child, I grew up in the midst of all
But
that.
did you sing? Did you dance? Did you act? What did
Yes.
you find yourself doing as a child?
As a child, in fact, I got involved in, I got interested in actually modern theatre.
Modern theatre, not
Yes.
Kathakali.
Not Kathakali. Kathakali, that was the tragic part in the beginning. So I did not pay much attention to it. It was all around, But then I always, when Kathakali performance was there, my mother was very much initiated into it because she grew up like that. So my mother used to explain what a gesture means, what is a mudra, etc.
Uh-huh.
So as a child sitting in her lap, I used to listen to these things and learn.
Fantastic.
Without being aware of it. That's how I grew up, and that was but unfortunately, I must say, in those days the new theatre, the modern theatre, took my fancy, and at the age of 8, for the first time I appeared on the stage in the school.
Uh-huh. And what was the modern play?
That was a play on Buddha's Mahaprasthan, and I played the role of the Buddha.
Oh, well. So you got right into the starring part at a young age.
Very sharp part.
So didn't being an actor grip your imagination enough?
It's fantastic to be an actor. Even at the age of 8, I was thrilled that now I am an actor on the stage and everybody is watching you
And listening to you.
and listening to you, and you are the master. Right. Suddenly you are empowered, even as a child you are empowered. By the time I reached the middle school, I started writing plays and acting in them, directing them, having my cousins and others joining, etc.
Fabulous.
So it was childhood was like that.
And then you went to Gandhigram for college.
Even as a schoolboy, I was very much interested. Not interested. I was in a way influenced by Gandhiji.
Mm-hmm.
So on my own, I started learning. In those days, learning Hindi was being patriotic. So I went to study privately Hindi. And then I started doing charka.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I started wearing only those clothes that I had spun. Gandhigram was just set up in 1956. It was set up,
Right.
and I read in the papers that they were running courses, 3-year courses after intermediate in those days. What was advertised in the there in the papers was that after that course you will be appointed block development officers.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was fantastic because this is service to the nation and also becoming employed. That was.
So you became a government servant.
I did become, but not in the in what which was promised. I wanted to do my life only in theatre. That was the plan.
Right.
But when I passed out, it was the most difficult time to get any job, any job. But by sheer luck, I would say that I got employed in the National Sample Survey as an investigator.
An investigator for the National Sample Survey. A statistician de facto.
De facto. I carried on with that job for a year and a half, almost. And after 1 year, first there was a lot of excitement about earning your own money, etc., and be on the job. But slowly I said, my life is not going to be like this.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend my life collecting statistics.
And then you heard that the Film and Television Institute had been established in Pune.
Then in 61,
61.
institute was set up, and that very year, and the institute started functioning in 61. And that very year, they had already got their first batch in 61.
Right.
And I happened to see this advertisement in the same year, 61, for 62 batch. So I chanced upon this advertisement which said one of the courses was screenplay writing and direction.
Uh-huh.
Then very naively I thought screenplay writing should be very similar to playwriting.
Right.
So I am going to learn academically theatre practice and playwriting, etc. So I joined thinking that I was going to learn more about theatre. That's what happened. And I found that I was ranked first.
Congratulations.
And I got the only merit scholarship offered at that time. It was 75 rupees. It was quite a lot of money.
Yes.
In 1962, it was a lot of money.
It was a 3-year course, I think, right?
3-year course.
So you passed out in 65.
65.
The second ever batch of the FTT.
Yes. Yes.
What happened next?
Actually, nothing happened. Because I came back and then with my friends and others, with contacts and others, I thought as soon as I got out of the institute, I was going to make films. And I did not go anywhere else. I wanted to make films in Kerala, in Malayalam. So through my friends, I made some contacts with the producers, known producers. None of them were interested because they did not believe that filmmaking can be studied academically. They thought it was reading some books and getting some wrong ideas. Of course, I had a lot of wrong ideas according to them. It did not go with their idea of filmmaking, of course. So I had to struggle along for 7 years to make my first film.
And did you do even documentaries or shorts?
I did many. In fact, during that period, actually, I had theoretically I had learned about everything. Cinematography, sound recording, editing, and all that I had learned theoretically at the institute. But I had not specialized in any of them. My specialization was only in script writing and direction.
Right.
So during this period, I put my hand on everything. Every aspect of filmmaking I did.
Then came Swayamvaram, 1972. Now, how did that come about? Because obviously finding funding, finding a producer.
It was impossible, and by that time we had established a cooperative, and then cooperative was not much help because there was no money in it. To produce a feature film, you had to have a lot of money. So at that time there was no NFDC. NFDC came later. At that time, Film Finance Corporation was there. Total budget of the film was 2.5 lakhs, and they would give us a loan of 1,50,000 rupees, and I had to raise the rest of the money on our own, which we did because we did some documentaries and semi-documentary films for the state government.
Now, I'm interested in one thing. You have gone through this rather tough period of seeing the financial challenges. How come you were never tempted by commercial cinema or making ads or any other way of making quick and easy money?
I was not after money.
But in order to finance your serious work?
I had to. But then that's why I waited. It was 7 years each, I say.
Right.
7 years each to make film. And finally it materialized. When it materialized, fortunately what happened was, it got all the major awards of that year.
The national award, if I remember, for best film, best director, best actress,
Best cinematographer.
and best cinematographer. Amazing.
It is actually
For a debut film.
yes.
Probably never
And
happened before or since.
Never before, never after.
Amazing.
Even with the great masters, it has not happened.
Right.
So that really made the movement, possible.
And thereafter, a dozen films have followed, and I think what's important for us to recognize is that Adur Gopalakrishnan won 16 National Film Awards and 17 Kerala State Film Awards. And no one to match that kind of record. Of course, at the national level, we do have Satyajit Ray, we have Mrinal Sen, but that is the trilogy. It's Ray, Sen, and Gopalakrishnan at that level. And I have to say, I'm just amazed by that extraordinary sustained standard of excellence. But on the other hand, you're accused of being a bit of a perfectionist. You take an awfully long time between films.
Very long time. Because I am involved in everything about my films. So right from the idea to the distribution of the film, I am involved with everything.
Even the posters, I think you
Yes,
design yourself.
yes. No, I don't design myself, but then I decide myself.
You decide yourself, yes.
Actually, I cannot design because I tell them ideas, but then
Okay.
I am not an artist. I do everything about my films because I am very particular that my films should be released like other commercial films. It should go to the audiences. They should have a choice to see or reject or accept it. That is every film of mine. I have seen to it that it is always released to the public. I cannot claim myself a filmmaker unless it is seen by the people, because it is fulfilled only when the people see it. At least there is a small number of people who understand the films, who follow them.
But tell me, is this still true? In other words, your early films were also commercial successes. They made more money than you spent making them. But as time has gone by, is it not true that our audiences seem to be having less and less time for the so-called parallel cinema and are perhaps patronizing it somewhat less? Or is that a wrong perception?
Actually, it is critics called it parallel cinema.
Right.
But I keep telling them,
It is just good cinema.
only the films I am making is the mainstream. Who told you I am parallel? I am not parallel. I don't see myself parallel to anyone, any other movement. I am making the mainstream. And also, people say you make art films. I say I don't know. I don't make art films. I don't make commercial films. I make films. This has to be understood.
Very well said.
Yes.
But I think you know what they mean.
Yes.
What they mean is the classic film would have an elementary storyline, 4 or 5 songs and dances, happy ending. There's a usual formula.
Yes.
And your films follow no formula. You have your own vision, and each story has an integrity. But it is a story that is very realistic, even where you use metaphors. The story is real and gritty, and there is no sort of song and dance and fun in any of the stories.
Actually, I do only what I believe in, that's all. We cannot even say I don't make compromise. Why should I make compromise? Compromise means I have to do something which I don't believe in.
Quite right.
That I don't do. I don't see the need because my needs are very limited.
So you're not going to sell your soul for a
Not at all.
mess of pottage, as they say.
No, not at all.
That's remarkable.
In my whole career, I never had to. This is fortunate that I never had to compromise.
And then why do you feel the need to pre-censor yourself?
Pre-sense because I know certain things you cannot do. Like Ray once said, I'm all right, I am free. He once said, I am free to do what I want, but I cannot do that. The big bed sequence, he used to say, See, so that is pre-censoring. He is not.
Yes,
he knows. We all know, and in a society, we all know what is.
What the traffic will bear, as it were, what the people are willing to watch.
Exactly.
But are their tastes not changing, especially with the recent exposure to foreign cinema that's been made possible by the internet revolution, cable television? People are watching a lot of foreign cinema these days with no difficulty. In the old days, you had to belong to a film society or a club of film lovers.
Yes.
Today, anyone can turn on the television, go on an OTT platform and watch. Frankly, a lot of foreign films without the censorship standards or pre-censorship standards.
Actually, it is the censorship is a redundant concept. in modern times particularly. It was in the past also. In the present, it is even worse. To think of censoring, it is much worse. Because also, see, the problem is you think the audience is always immature. Who are you to presume yourself as mature? Who are you to think like that? That some people think they are mature and others are immature, perpetually immature. How can you do that?
Now, the Benegal Commission, I think, came up with a recommendation that there should be no censorship, only certification, and the certification would merely indicate roughly what age group a cinema, a particular film was suitable for. You would endorse that view?
Yes, yes. I know. Actually, we are living in a democracy. Artist is also responsible. He is a responsible citizen.
Quite right.
To start with, he is a citizen.
That's right.
So why can't he be trusted?
And he has as much of a stake in society as the elected politicians.
Yes.
I understand.
Yes.
We'll take a break right now. Back in a minute with Sri Adoor Gopalakrishnan. Hello, this is To The Point and I'm Shashi Tharoor. We're back together with Sri Adoor Gopalakrishnan, renowned film director. Adoorji, we've been talking in the first half about your life, your career, becoming a film director, and I want to bring you to the present. There have been some changes in the cinema watching experience. A lot of people are now watching cinema on laptops or little screens or at best on their television screen through OTT platforms, rather than going to a theatre. Now, you must be conscious of that as a director. Has it affected your own filmmaking at all? And do you believe it changes the experience for the viewer?
I think it's a very sad thing. Because the cinema used to be seen in a regular, darkened, with proper acoustics, etc. And that experience you cannot get from your cell phone or even from their laptop. So, see, the films are made to be seen for a particular length of time, each shot. In a few seconds, you are observing everything in the frame, because it's so large that you get the sufficient time, because its frame is large. On a small screen, you hardly see the film. You hear all the people talking. And then you, like cartoon characters, you see these movements, that's all. You are not really watching my film when you are seeing my film on a cell phone. You are not. No, you are doing great injustice to my work.
That's a very interesting point.
Yes,
I never thought of that.
Yes. And then, see, OTT is a desperate situation. Out of a desperate situation, people are releasing films on OTT. And they are taking away the experience of cinema from the audience, even from the filmmaker. If they start making films to be released on the OTT, it will be very sad. That will be the end of cinema. Some few filmmakers who think that it has to be not only large, it has to be very large. They keep to the format of 70 mm, because you feel as if the whole thing is happening before you. Really,
That's
that
right.
kind of feeling. So all that wonder of cinema will be lost with so many other things around. You are not a dedicated viewer, first of all.
Correct.
You are a casual viewer.
That's right.
You approach the thing very casually. But if you approach me very casually, I feel very sad. I have to be given the attention that I really.
The integrity of your work.
Integrity of the work to be seen. It's very important.
Very, very.
So I feel very sad about the situation, and people are talking about OTT all the time.
Yeah.
But if you are making sitcoms, it's okay. That's all what is.
And they'll have a laugh track to tell you when to laugh, even.
That's it. That's it. They put in that also. Somebody sound is given, that kind of thing. So for a regular film, it has to be in a cinema house with people around. That's a community experience. You are taking away the community experience again if you watch a film on your the cell phone or you on a TV set. So it is a completely different, way of
experience.
looking at it.
Now that's on the viewing side. On the making side,
Yes.
your last film, Pinayam, in 2016, was the first film you made through the digital medium.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that experience and how it was
Because
different
there
for
was
you?
no other way, because the film had just simply disappeared.
Celluloid is not available.
Because it was not because of a creative decision that the film was done away with. It was only a commercial decision that the digitization came with that. You have it uploaded to the satellite, and then it is received on your projector in the cinema hall and then shown, etc. But there are advantages about the digital medium.
What are the advantages that you
One
experienced?
big advantage is, suppose you want to show a scene in twilight, and the cinema film, however fast the film is, he cannot get the same feeling. But the digital medium, it can capture it as it is.
Oh, I
As
see.
it is. Low light is excellent for the digital medium.
Right.
And in the old days, if you wanted to show a street, with lights and all that here and there, and from the shops and all that, you had to light up the whole thing, whole street.
Oh, because otherwise it would be a dark street.
Otherwise you won't get it.
Right.
So today you just take it. You can take it as it is. So it allows many conveniences. It is very convenient in that sense.
How about processing, editing?
No processing.
This film had to be processed.
The film had to be processed. This situation of processing is very interesting, because now the filmmakers don't process their ideas even. Don't process. They are very raw. This is what is happening. So there is no contemplation. There is no processing of the things. This doesn't happen.
And what about editing? Is that easier now?
Editing is again easier, much easier. Actually, I since I shoot according to a very detailed script and etc., I don't take much time to edit.
Okay.
I shoot only what I need.
Right.
So my editing is done in 3-4 days time.
Wow.
Whereas people have been editing
6 months.
6 months, 7 months like that, because they have been shooting like that. They don't know what to take and what to reject, because they don't have a detailed script. So it has made you very easy, because you have become very indulgent with this practice,
Right.
and not people who see, one of the basic principles of filmmaking is keeping in the direction of the look. If you are talking to each other and then you want the same thing to be reproduced, even when you show a close-up in between, the camera cannot go to the other side. There is a line between you and me,
Right.
which is called the imaginary line.
Right.
Once you cross it, you look the other way on the screen. So this is surmounted very easily. Put another camera there. This is what they are doing. You don't have to know any rules of the filmmaking. This is very interesting.
That is fascinating.
Yes.
Tell me, Pinayam is 5 years ago.
Yes.
Why have we not seen or heard about a new Adur Gopalakrishnan project since then?
It has been very depressing during this period. Very depressing with the COVID and the OTT. That people are not going to the cinemas. So you have to feel really excited about some subject that you want to share with the people. It's an experience, in fact, that you have gone through, that you want to share it with the people. And I think several times before doing that, because it should be worthwhile for the others to share my experience.
Right.
It should give them some better understanding of the life they live, of the life others live, of the community lives. This is very important. Otherwise, I will be wasting their time and my time.
So are you at least contemplating a project? Is there a draft script that might be either in your mind or on the page?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. In fact, I am waiting.
Well, let us hope it's not too long a wait. One final question. I know that when you reach a certain stage of venerability, and you have won every award there is to win, including the Padma Vibhushan in 2006, the Dada Saheb Phalke Award for Lifetime Achievement in 2005. You are an eminence in our society and in the film world. People will always want some advice from you. And you had told me about the advice given by a German filmmaker you like and respect. What would be his advice and what would be your advice to people who want to set out in the film industry?
I was very recently watching an interview with the great filmmaker Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog.
The interviewer asked him, you're quite old and you are eminent and all that, but then you keep on making films, and they look very fresh. How do you do it? The answer immediately says, read, read, read.
Is that your advice also?
With more and more strength, he says, read, read, read. Yes, everything. My interest in things in life, in the society, everything starts from reading.
Novels, stories, newspapers?
Everything, everything.
Okay.
I tell young students in the schools, etc. I tell them, you read everything, including a notice that you find, that you find somewhere. You read it. Read, and then you will reach a stage when you can be choosy about reading. Then you choose what you want to read. That comes much later.
Right.
You don't start with only one thing, in all your life. But I personally, I think everything that I have come to make as a filmmaker and a life, etc., it has come from
reading.
My reading.
That's music to my ears as a writer, because
Yes.
whenever I'm asked, for example, this silly habit people now have asking me to teach them a new word,
Yes.
my word is actually read. So me, Herzog, and you are in the same boat, I'm proud to say.
Yes.
Really want to thank you for joining us in this splendid conversation. Wishing you much more, many more years of creative energy and fulfillment. I think people in India and around the world look out for your work with a great deal of interest. And I really hope that we will be seeing something of Pinnayam, which means, of course, what happens
again,
next.
next, yes.
And we hope that we will get the answer to that before too long.
Thank you very much. It has been very pleasant talking to you.
So nice talking to you, Adoorji.
Thank you.
Namaskaram.
Thank you.
And Shashi Tharoor here signing off on To The Point with Sansad TV.